What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another Guild Wars 2 build video, and this time I'm going to be showing you another Berserker build. I'm so happy about this one, and I feel like it could really work. And I've been trying it out in PvE, and so far it looks like it's pretty good for that. It looks like it's pretty good for PvE, and basically I wanted to make like a cross between a ranger and a warrior on a warrior. So this is going to end up being a hybrid build. I'm trying out another Berserker build. I'm not too experienced with making Berserker builds, but this hopefully will be a good one. So what I've got is rifle and longbow, and we're going to call this build the the smoking gun. Yeah, that's what I had. The smoking gun Berserker. And so we are going to just jump right into it. Okay, so first of all, we're using the same gear as the other the Skull Grinder Berserker. Same gear. We got grieving on the armor, and we've got rampagers on all the trinkets. Now for the rifle, this is the only rifle that I had, which is Berserkers, but you know, this is not going to be absolutely optimal setup, but it is going to give you the idea of it. So basically, you're going to want some condition damage, but the build is not going to want to depend a lot on condition damage, because the rifle is not a conditioned weapon, and it doesn't really inflict too many conditions. It's only got that one on gun flame. This thing is going to focus a lot around burning. And so because of that, we're going to have to just basically focus on burning duration. So we need to do that, and we've also got a longbow going. So as you can see, I've got the Shifting Sands longbow, and I really like it. But anyway, so the condition damage is helpful, but it's not what you really want to be focusing on. The longbow is condition damage, power, and vitality. I can't remember exactly what stat set that is. I also don't have a second sigil on it, so I'm not exactly sure what would be optimal for that. But I got 60% chance on critical to inflict bleeding, and you do have some critical chance with this bow. So it's going to vary, right? You could probably go with a lot of different things. Probably a sigil of accuracy would help you with there. But as far as runes, we've got runes of Balthazar, and that's really going to help because we need the burning duration. Burning duration is good because it's the only condition, it's the only damaging condition that that rifle can inflict, and it is the only damaging condition, except for skill 5, that longbow can inflict. So very useful there. And that's what we're going to really focus on. So, so runes of Balthazar, they give you extra burning duration, extra condition damage. When you're struck below 20% health, you get quickness, but it's not really a big deal because it's every 90 seconds. Currently, what I'm running on the rifle is a 7% critical chance on the sigil of accuracy, and 50% chance on critical to steal health, and that's pretty useful because this build doesn't have as much survivability as the other, some of the other builds that I've had. However, there are variations to this build where you can actually add on some survivability, so we'll talk about that. Next, let's get into the skills. So we've got rifle, which is going to give you bonus adrenaline because of the trait that we took. And then we're gonna give, then you get aimed shot, which gets you some vulnerability on your target, in addition to brutal shot, which gives you another 8 vulnerability. So it puts a total of 18 vulnerability just in 2 different attacks. Very good. Next, we've got volley, which pierces, and it's a pretty fast attack. It's just 2.5 seconds, and it attacks 5 times. By comparison, the dagger skill is, well, actually the dagger skill blade storm goes faster, but take into account 100 blades. Okay, 100 blades attacks 8 times, but it's 3.5 seconds. So you're attacking for an extra full second more than volley, and that one actually, 100 blades actually does less damage. Or no, it does a tiny bit more damage than volley. So overall, this is going to be a good choice for damage, especially since you're just inflicting 18 vulnerability right off the bat. You're going to want to probably do 4 and then 2, because this does immobilize them. So you might also want to switch that up and do 2 and then 1, which will cripple them and then immobilize them. And so then you can also do the volley on them, or you can run up and do your rifle butt. And rifle butt is a knockback, so that is the hard CC that you can get from the rifle that you cannot get from the longbow. So very useful. Next we get the burst skill, and we're not going to focus on kill shot because it really should not focus on that, because kill shot is good, but the main thing we want to focus on is gun flame, and that's why I'm calling it the smoking gun berserker. I really like that. So what we've got is a 4.5 second recharge without Smash Brawler. If you do Smash Brawler, it makes it recharge in 3 1/4 seconds. It's so insanely fast. And we might do that. Actually, let's run with Smash Brawler. And it's going to inflict some burning, which the condition damage really helps with. And then it's also going to do a lot of damage, and it's also a 1/4 of a second daze. So it's a hard CC in addition to some condition damage. And that is what we're going to really focus on in this build. Next, we've got the healing skill, which is, of course, Blood Reckoning. I think it's any Berserker build that focuses on the burst skill is going to want to take Blood Reckoning, because if you take Blood Reckoning, you can instantly recharge that gun flame and instantly use it again, because it gives you the adrenaline, right? It also heals you, and when you're doing tons of damage with gun flame, it's going to heal you even more, because you're healing yourself for 20% of that damage. So it's actually going to heal you for like 400 extra just in that one attack, and then you can do, you know, something else, and that lasts for 5 seconds, and this thing recharges in 3 1/4 seconds, so you can actually do it twice. Very, very good. Next, we've got Adrenaline. I love Adrenaline. It's not Adrenaline. Outrage. Outrage is an amazing skill because it's just a stun break, and also you gain a crap ton of adrenaline, which you're going to need for the gun flame. So next we've got Endure Pain, and Endure Pain just makes you straight up invulnerable for 4 seconds. Always a useful skill to have, I think. It breaks your stuns. It gives you a little more survivability. You could potentially go with something else. We'll talk about that in a second when I get to the traits. So Shattering Blow is next, and that one is where it's a half-second block. It's kind of interesting. It's a half-second block, gives you stability, inflicts some bleeding. The bleeding helps with the bleeding is helped by the condition damage. And but the main thing is that it gives you stability so that you could then go into Headbutt and inflict all that extra damage, get 30 adrenaline right off the bat, and also break stuns if you were stunned. It's insanely good. It's just very, very good. Headbutt's just such a good elite skill. It's a low cooldown too. But anyways, so next let's get on to the traits. Now, Discipline. I really, really wanted to make a build that focused around this trait, which is Crack Shot. Crack Shot reduces the recharge of all your rifle skills and also your harpoon gun, which doesn't matter to me. But anyways, they also give you a bonus adrenaline. Extra adrenaline means more times you get to activate gun flame, so that's really, really good. It also, when you take Discipline, you get fast hands, which means your weapon swapping recharges faster. You can switch between gun flame and then Scorched Earth on the longbow, which is going to do that. And also, you're probably familiar with the longbow skills, but just to go over it really quick, you get the auto attack, which is going to get 2 stacks of burning in. You've got Fan of Fire, which is going to get 3 stacks of burning in if all 3 arrows actually hit the target. You've got an AoE arrow, which is just like an exploding arrow. You've got Smoldering Arrow, which is going to blind your target. And you've got Pin Down, which is going to inflict bleeding and immobilize. And then the Primal Burst is Scorched Earth, which is going to inflict burning, and it's going to do crap tons of damage as well on several targets, and for 4 seconds. So, next, we've got Destruction of the Empowered, which is going to do more damage for every boon on your target. This is not as useful in PvE, so if what you're fighting is not really going to be having any boons, then you might want to take Brawler's Recovery, where you're switching between the rifle and the longbow, and you're removing conditions as you do it. It gives you some extra Condi Cleanse. So that's useful. If you don't want to take it, or if you're taking PvP, or if what you're going to be fighting has a lot of boons, then you can actually take Destruction of the Empowered. And this is actually much more useful with a Berserker than a Spellbreaker, because with the Spellbreaker, you're going to be removing boons, whereas with a Berserker, you don't remove boons, and so you just have to deal with it, but instead you get to do that extra damage on top of it. So, Next, I also want to add that you gain 5 adrenaline on weapon swap with versatile rage with discipline. So you need that extra adrenaline. If you're constantly swapping, then you get to get that little bit of extra adrenaline and keep doing your primal bursts. And lastly, we have Burst Mastery, which is going to give you extra adrenaline every time you use a burst skill, which is just so good. It just restores a third of your adrenaline that you spent. So you spend 10 on the primal burst, you get 3 back, right? And then if you're using the rifle, you're going to be gaining extra adrenaline for each attack. So you're going to be ready to use that gunflame every time it's done cooling down. Tons of adrenaline on Berserker. It's just so good. Next, we've got Tactics, and I really wanted to take Tactics because I'm also taking Longbow as a secondary weapon, and I'm very much of the belief that if you're going to take a weapon in this game, that you need to trait for it. And so what I did is I traded for the Longbow as well. So but first of all, we have Leg Specialist, so whenever you cripple your enemy with a skill, then you also immobilize them, and that really works well for aimed shot, which is already a 5-second cripple, but then you can also immobilize them for 1 second in addition to this 1.5 second immobilize. So that is also good, and I think I thought one of the longbow skills crippled, but I guess not. But anyway, the rifle skill does, so it's also going to immobilize them. You could potentially do empowered, but the problem with that is that you're not really going to get very many boons on yourself. You can, but it's only a 1%. Like if you do Berserker, if you do Berserk mode, then you're going to gain, 4 boons. That's a 4% damage increase. It's really not that great, and instead it could be useful to have that immobilization, so I'm adding that. Next, we've got Reviver's Might, so it's just basically granting healing and stuff when you revive somebody. Burning Arrows is really, really useful because on the longbow it reduces the recharge of the skills, and then also it makes the auto attack inflict burning. Very, very useful. Next, we've got Powerful Synergy, and this is where a little bit of variation comes in, because I've got Powerful Synergy right now, but instead of taking Endure Pain, it is a stun break, but you could take some Condi Cleanse and take Shake It Off. That's a stun break. It also removes conditions, and then you could take Vigorous Shouts, and it will also heal you and gain you adrenaline. And it recharges in only 20 seconds. So we're actually going to run with that variation, but just know that it's very, very possible you could do Powerful Synergy, especially because these rifle skills are combo finishers. They're physical projectile combo finishers. Even the auto attack has a 20% chance to become a physical projectile combo finisher. As well as the longbow auto attack. Fan of Fire is not, but Arcing Arrow is a blast finisher. Smoldering Arrow is a physical projectile, and Pin Down is a physical projectile, as well as the Combustive Shot and Scorched Earth being combo fields. So the Powerful Synergy is very useful there. However, we are going to be running with this variant. Just know that the other one is possible. And lastly, but not least, we have Berserker. And what we are running right now is Smash Brawler, which reduces the recharge of Primal Bursts, which is going to reduce the recharge of our Gunflame skill down to 3 1/4 seconds. As I said before, very, very short. You're going to be able to use this thing so many times. Next, and also I was going to run Savage Instinct for some extra Condi Cleanse, and also going into Berserker mode breaks a stun. However, I'm choosing to go with Smash Brawler right now. Next, we've got Blood Reaction, which makes you gain ferocity based on your precision, and you gain more when you're in Berserk mode. Ferocity really helps because you're going to be gaining some critical hits, and you want to make sure that those do tons and tons and tons of damage. However, if you wanted to, then you could definitely take Dead or Alive. If you find yourself dying way too often, you could take Dead or Alive. Solid heal, 5,000. It's actually more than Blood Reaction. Sorry, not Blood Reaction. Blood Reckoning. Blood Reaction is this trait. And lastly, we've got Eternal Champion. And I thought about doing Bloody Roar for the extra damage of Gunflame. But instead, what we're going to do is do Eternal Champion, because when you go into Berserk mode, right, you're in Berserk mode for 10 seconds. Okay? Sorry, no, 15 seconds. You're in it for 15 seconds. and then you gain 8 seconds of 3 stacks of stability. So you're not going to be stunned all the time or anything when you're in Berserk mode. It also makes you get extra might, so that is also useful. And it also makes you gain some healing power. It's from tactics. So that's also useful. So basically, that's the build. We're just going to really quickly go over here and test it. And this is my usual testing spot. This is basically a ranger warrior. It's, you know, you're only using ranged weapons. So we'll see. Let's see. And you headbutt, right? Berserk mode, gun flame, blood reaction, gun flame, and then gaining extra adrenaline, gun flame again, right? Rifle butt, gun flame again, boom. And then now we actually run out of Berserk mode there. And then I do outrage to gain some more adrenaline. And then we can actually, if you really want to, if you feel like you have enough adrenaline, you can go ahead and do a kill shot here. Let me just see if I can do this really quick. I'm gonna gain this adrenaline right here and do the kill shot, and I probably should have gone into Berserk mode, but that's fine. We do that, and then Berserk mode, gun flame, blood reaction, gun flame, right? Outrage, which is gonna give you more adrenaline, gun flame again. So that's it. You basically, you get to use gun flame so often. I didn't actually end up switching to longbow because that's my own personal habit. I don't have a tendency to actually switch weapons very easily, but that's definitely a possibility. You know, this build has probably a lot more survivability because you're at range. That's basically it. You're at range, and you can you have so much more just defense, right? You're just going up against people, and you've got an evade right here, right? And you immobilize them so they can't chase you for a little bit. So that is the build. I'm going to leave you with that. Just some brief channel announcements. I want to remind everybody that I've got an updated Patreon page. I also want to remind everybody that I'm getting pretty good thumbnails recently, and I'm trying to upload that. Also, weekly, I'm going to do a guild World vs. World group on Maguma server. So there is that. We did that earlier today with a few of the guildies, and that was really fun. So check out that stream. It's only about an hour long. And then, in addition, if you want to support me, go ahead and check out my other videos. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed. And I will see you next time.